So today I am going to walk you through the How to Study PDF. I know it looks like it's all over the place, there's so many things going on. So if you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed with that PDF, then this is what the video is for. Otherwise, there's no need to watch this. You are welcome to use that PDF as you so wish. So we will be going through the 6 different steps on how to study. These are not rules of any sort, they are just merely suggestions. And my hope for you is that you find at least one thing in here that will help you during your exam and school journey. For you who do not know me, my name is Miss Monroe. You are welcome to contact me at any time, and I will share my email address at the end of this video. Alright, so jumping straight into it, today we are going to look at how to study. So step 1 on how to study is basically just to romanticize your studying. So what does that mean? That means that essentially you need to fall in love with learning. Find at least one thing that you like. So a lot of you will probably roll your eyes at the statement, I don't like learning, what can I possibly enjoy about learning? My exams are starting, it's too late for me to find something that I love. And I understand you, I hear you. And if this is not going to work for you now, this time around, just think about it for next term and for the next exams. But just try. So one thing that you can like, these include maybe a specific subject that you might like more, maybe not a subject, but a topic within the subject that you like, no matter how large or small that topic is. And if you are just not finding a subject or a topic that's working for you, then maybe to try and find something within the method of studying that works for you. Some things that I enjoy particularly, or did enjoy when I was at school, is being able to use lots of colors, allowing my creativity to flow, having stationery out, getting to listen to music you wouldn't usually listen to, and also just to make lots and lots of tea, right? Something that makes you comfortable, warm, etc. Okay, so on music, you'll see there's a line disappearing here off of music. So as a side note, before we continue into the next step, if you are struggling to romanticize studying, then you will see that these large arrows that are coming off of various steps all lead to this bubble here. All right, so part of this bubble is basically some music options. So if you're wanting to listen to music, these are some good musics that you can choose from, as they are designed to focus you. So the old one is classical. Many people like to mention classical. Personally, for myself, this does not work. Classical music is actually very, very, very complicated music, and yeah, I would enjoy listening to it too much actually. Otherwise, gaming playlists, so video games, they are designed to keep you sitting there for hours and hours and hours. And this is a playlist that I used extensively when I was studying at university to keep me focused. A new one that I've just found is concentration playlists, also known as ADHD hyperfocus playlists. Those again are designed for people who have basically they cannot hold the attention for too long, and so again it's designed to keep your focus. Those are really good. Other options are lo-fi or any coffee house music. Essentially, you're looking for something with no lyrics. All right, you are going to be speaking, you are going to be studying, you're going to be reading, and having lyrics might get in the way of those other words that you might read or hear. Okay, then another option in terms of finding something that you love about learning, you might want to go onto YouTube, and on YouTube you can find videos of other people studying. All right, now I know this sounds a bit weird, but basically if you have someone else studying in the background, that might push you to focus because you can see they're studying, so you should be studying. And also just to take breaks. So if that person on the YouTube video takes a break, 5 minutes, 15 minutes, then maybe that's a good signal for you to take a break as well. Alternatively, you can also film yourself. So by no means do you have to post this anywhere, but even just filming yourself studying might push you to actually continue studying. And you can even time lapse that afterwards and see how productive you were in that study session. Okay, so we've spoken about how to fall in love or how to find one thing in terms of the studying. So once you have chosen a subject that you are going to start studying with, I would suggest choosing a subject that you write soon, or maybe something that is difficult, that you do not enjoy. All right, so once you've chosen that, we move over here to step 2, which is to practice. So essentially, you will be using a practice test. Okay, where are you going to get this practice test? There are many online, especially if you are in the FET phase. You can find a lot online. Otherwise, ask your teacher. There are many available to them. And if you cannot find a practice test, then you can just use your homework questions, because those essentially are mini practice test questions. All right, so once you've gotten hold of something to practice, you are going to do the practice test, mark it yourself, so have a memo or get your teacher to mark it for you. And after it's been marked, you will identify any of the topics that you do not know, right? These are the topics that you are going to start studying with. All right, more on that later. Okay, so you put those topics aside, and now we move on to step 3. Step 3 is to double check your scope or your exam guidelines. All right, so that's basically will tell you what you need to know for your exam. The exam guidelines for grade 12 are always available online, free for access to anybody. All right, so you're going to look through your scope and you're going to ask yourself, is there anything else that I need to focus on? Okay, and if you can see something that you are not comfortable with, that you don't enjoy, you are going to take your practice test topics that you didn't know, you are going to take your scope things that you need to focus on, and you are going to merge them together into a pile of everything that you do not know. And that is what you are going to start with. So essentially steps 1, 2, and 3 are preparing you for the actual study. How am I going to study? Am I going to listen to music? Am I going to have my tea out with me? Which topics am I going to choose? Which subjects am I going to start with? All right, so only from step 4, 5, and 6 do we really actually get into the study. Okay, so all those things that you do not know, here comes step number 4. You are going to summarize those things. All right, now when you are making a summary, there are a lot of things that I've seen learners do in the past which is not included in making a summary. It's not going to work for everybody. And so here are some of those things. So the first one, for example, do not just highlight and read notes that you already have, all right? Most of the time you'll find that people will just end up highlighting everything. They just highlight and highlight and highlight and highlight, and they read and they read and they read, and you're reading so many words on words and words, and then they all just become jumbled all up together. So no, you're not just going to highlight or just read. Okay. Highlighting and reading is part of the study process. More on that later. All right, another thing that you should just be careful of is your cell phone. Your cell phone is a distraction. Okay, so your cell phone should be put away. Cell phones are also designed to distract you. So, for example, some of you might have noticed that if you put your cell phone away on the side for a bit, you might have some really weird apps that start sending you notifications, or you just get a lot more notifications than normal. This is because the cell phone knows that you are not on your cell phone, and it is trying to get you onto the cell phone. All right, so try and limit all your distractions. There are some things that cell phones can be useful in studying. So here are 3 things that you can use your cell phone for. So if you are wanting to limit your distractions, maybe turn your Wi-Fi off, or put your cell phone in airplane mode, or just check out the settings on your device. And you can disable certain notifications from certain apps for the time period you are studying. All right, you can also use your cell phone as a study timer. That might be very useful to you. And then you can count how long it is until you need to have a break, etc., etc. And again, of course, you might want to listen to music on your cell phone. The types of music we have already discussed. Okay, so the last thing under step 4 for your summary is you're not going to have your cell phone out. You are not just going to read and highlight. And lastly, you are not just going to rewrite your notes. Rewriting your notes is not studying. Studying is learning, it is remembering, it is growing. And if you rewrite something that is there and you copy what is already there, you are not growing, you are not changing. You are doing the same thing again and again. All right. By the way, if you do the same thing over and over and over again and you're expecting a different result, that is one of the definitions for insanity. Okay, so do not just rewrite the notes. Always do it in your own words. All right. A lot of the time people say, well, what does that mean? What is my own words? Your own words basically means, can you explain it to somebody else? So can you explain this topic or the subject or whatever you have just learned to somebody else? All right, and then also if you do a summary properly, in that you actually shorten the work that you need to know and summarize the work that you need to know, you will automatically have it in your own words. All right, so on the side, I've got a couple of different tips for when you are making your summary. So using your 5 senses. It's always important to make those brain connections if you activate all 5 senses. So the first sense that we have is obviously like your ears, so listening. Sorry, that's my ear. So obviously the time for listening in class is over, but if you listen in class in term 3 maybe, and you're active and present there, that will help you make connections through your ears. You can also verbally test yourself, so give yourself a test, make your parents maybe test you with your homework questions, a friend, etc. And then obviously listening to music will also activate your ears and make those brain connections. All right, so other than your ears, you can also use your mouth. All right, so to speak. So what I enjoyed doing is I always enjoyed studying with a friend. We would do the same subject studying and we would teach each other and help each other understand the topics that the other one was struggling with. But some other ideas is to actually teach your topic to a friend from a different subject. This would mean if they can understand what you are telling them, then that means that you understand the work as well. But the same here. Different subjects or speaking to family. If family and a friend from another subject cannot understand what you are trying to tell them, that means that there's something missing in your understanding of the topic as well. Okay, and then you can also speak in class. Obviously, you know what I mean by speaking in class, on topic, on subject, etc. Right, then you can also speak to yourself. All right, say things out loud when you're memorizing stuff. Say it in your own words so that you understand it. Speaking to yourself, I know it sounds crazy, but it definitely can help. Okay, last 2 are over here. So your hand, you can also write. So this is your touch sense. All right, so when you are writing things down, you are making connections from your hand to your brain. So when you write, you can make past papers, writing past papers. Don't do them lazily, do them properly. Okay, do it how you would do an actual exam. See how much writing it would be. Practice. So that your hand doesn't get sore sitting in a 3-hour exam. Past paper, past paper, past paper. All right, you also want to highlight your notes, you want to do diagrams, you want to add color. All of these things that use your pen in your hand will help bridge those connections. And lastly, your eyes, reading. Okay, so obviously, like we said, don't just read over your work, but when you are actually making your summaries, you will be reading your notes and shortening them into your own understanding. All right, I've got this over here, food, because that technically would be part of your taste sense. And whilst food has nothing much to do about studying, it is very important that you have some food and snacks, or even at least just some water nearby, because studying does take energy. It does use energy from your brain, and you will have to feed yourself again to keep the pace of studying up. If you do not eat, you will not be able to study as efficiently as possible. Doesn't mean you can't study, but your studying won't be as effective. All right. Okay, so back here to making summaries in your own words. These are some ways that you can make summaries. So one of these ways is through a cheat sheet. So with a cheat sheet summary, you want to ask yourself, well, imagine I could take 1 page into the exam. What from one topic would I want to put on that 1 page if I could take it with me?
And by doing that, cramming one topic on one page, you are automatically summarizing that topic. All right, mind maps are a thing. Diagrams are very useful in life sciences or any other kind of sciences because, for example, if you do like a cell with a nucleus and some organelles and stuff, you can take that cell and you can put the labels onto that cell, you can write what they are, the structure, and you can give the functions of the label. So your entire page becomes everything you need to know on cells with your drawings included. And it's much more visual with a lot less text. Right, then I also find that flashcards are very useful for definitions. Definitions are one of, in my opinion, what learners suffer or struggle with the most. And so we need to start making flashcards. Right, on a side, if anyone is interested into figuring out how to do any of these things, you're more than welcome to contact me and I can do a session with you on how to effectively do these summaries. Okay, that was step 4, right? Lots and lots of things on the summary. Okay. Then if we move on to step 5 happens after your summary, where you now add images and you read over your summary. So you'll see here's this line coming from reading, where you do this after you have made your summary. Okay, so reading through your summary, you will realize what you do know and what you do not know. Anything next to the stuff that you do not know, I would recommend adding pictures like this. So your pictures do not need to be complicated. As you can see, some of these are very, very, very simple and very, very possible for anybody to do. But by adding images and reducing text, you can memorize a lot quicker. So for example, when I was at school, if someone had to tell me to write their plants and animals, I would never, ever write plants and animals. I would always just write that. That means plants to me. This means and my animal would be some sort of weird little symbol like that. And then I was just like, cool, plants and animals. And what about if plants and animals increase water? Then I wouldn't say plants and animals increase water. I would write my thing here, plants and animals increase water. And with a little water drop. And that is my sentence. No words whatsoever, very easy to understand, and my mind has memorized it. Okay, so once we have done that, you've added your images and your colors, you are going to add meaningful color. So this is the last step. So you don't have to do this all in one day. Sometimes I would make my summary and then maybe add some pictures or something like that. And then 2 days later or the next day, then I would come and add color. So how does this help? Well, when you go back and add color, you are rereading the notes. So you're reading it again. You're thinking about what you know and what you don't know. And you're going to add color meaningfully. So you are analyzing the topic even further. So what do I mean when I say add meaningful color? I mean the first color, write it here. So the first color that comes to your mind when you think of that topic or that thing that you're summarizing or highlighting or anything, that is the color that you are going to use. So myself personally, I like to use yellow for very, very important topics or topics that I really don't understand, because yellow is the most eye-catching in my opinion. And when I can go the day before the test or something, I can see there, oh, well, here's all my yellow bits. This is what I need to go over. And I quite literally ignore everything that is not yellow. Otherwise, some other things that you could do is you could say, all right, I'm actually going to use an example from life sciences. So grade 10 life sciences, you did a whole bunch of different topics, and I can still remember to this day what colors my individual topic summaries were, because that's how much those colors reminded me of the topic. So for example, everything that was green for me would always have to do with plants, just always. Then my what's this now? Sorry. The blue, I remember all the blue was proteins. Everything about proteins, enzymes, everything like that. My purple was my DNA. These are just the first colors that came to my head when I would think about it, and that is how I summarized it from then outwards. My yellow ones was fats, anything to do with the lipids, the oils, the fats. Orange were carbs, carbohydrates, and so yeah, those were the ones that we had to know, and so there you go. Yeah, so any color that works for you is fine. Just make sure that it is the first color that comes to your mind. All right, and that is basically it. All right, and just another reminder that all of these steps, so when you're making your summary, when you're adding images and reading over it, when you're adding color, you could be doing all of these things. You could be watching a YouTube video of someone else studying. You could be listening to design music. So that's something just to keep in mind. All right, I'm not going to go over this right now, but on the side over here by the summary, I do have some notes on when and where you could potentially be summarizing. So I'm not going to go into too much detail with this, but the main thing I just wanted to point out here was movement. So just make sure that you are allowing yourself to move. This links in again with our senses as well. All right, so you might want to move during your breaks. You might want to move between where you are studying, your desk, your bed, both move between them. Just allowing that movement, and so your blood can move to your brain, to the rest of your body, and not just stagnate and sit in one place for the whole time. All right, so there is your How to Study mind map that has hopefully come a little bit more to life for you. If you need to contact me or you'd like to arrange any kind of session, you are welcome to do so. Here is my email address. So that is, it's wrong, cmunro@gshs.co.za. Cool. Thank you.